Hey guys. So I promised you some information about the stomach virus. And just as a disclaimer, I am a dental hygienist. I'm not a nurse, but I know more about the stomach virus than any normal human being should because I'm one of those people that hates it. I hate it. It's why I got into the oils to begin with. And I learned a lot about it because let me tell you something. 7 years ago, this week, Eben and Jesse had the stomach virus on Christmas. And it was terrible. It was terrible, y'all. It was terrible. And it made me kind of reach out into like a lot of different areas and try to figure out, why was it contagious? How do you catch it? How do you stop it, for Pete's sake? And I learned a lot about the stomach virus during that time, and I'm going to share it with you. And then we're going to talk about how our family mitigates it with the oils. But let's talk about the stomach virus and let's talk about how you catch it because there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of things out there. So, first and foremost, it's kind of icky and gross when you think about it, but you have to ingest someone's poop or vomit to get it. It's really gross when you think about it. It's not airborne. It's not like a cold or a flu type thing. So it's not airborne. So you have to ingest someone's poop or vomit that's infected to get it. Kind of gross, right? So it can live on a surface. Different forms of it can live on a surface sometimes for weeks, especially the norovirus. And this is what gets people in trouble, especially with a lot of children or little kids. So let's say a member of your family gets the stomach virus and you hose everything down, you think everything's fine, and then a few days later, another one of your kids get it or your spouse gets it or whatever, and you're like, "Oh my god, what happened? How do we catch it?" Well, it's harder to catch than you think, but it's really hard to kill. But if you know how to kill it, you can stop it. So, it can live in your bowel movements for 10 to 14 days. That's what gets people in trouble. So let's say someone in your family has it, and then a couple days later, or whatever, they go number two in the bathroom, and then of course the toilet is going to be infected. And then the next person uses it or whatever. That person washes their hands, even if they don't wash their hands. If they wash their hands well, let me tell you, it's really hard to kill the stomach virus on your hands. So even an adult that uses soap may not do enough to kill it on your hands. And then guess what? You're rubbing it on the towel that everyone else is using. And then let's say you come out and you grab something to eat, you put it in your mouth, boom, you're going to have it like 12 hours later or whatever. You get the point. Here's the other thing, like, even though it's not airborne, it comes out of your body with such high velocity, either from your mouth or the other end, that the virus can travel several feet in your bathroom. So, toothbrushes that are on your counters, consider everything that's in your bathroom as contaminated, every single surface. Okay. So you want to boil the toothbrushes or throw them away. You don't want to, definitely don't want to use them. That'll get you in trouble. And just hose everything down. So let's talk about what you can do to kill the virus on those surfaces that are contaminated. Another thing that catches up with people is you think, oh gosh, well, somebody woke up and they got sick in their bed if you have a little person. And mom always like gathers all that stuff up or, throws it in the washing machine dryer. Do you know that the dryer and the washer doesn't always kill it? Even the heat from the dryer doesn't always kill it. So that sneaks up on people too. In the bathroom, those surfaces that are contaminated, of course, bleach and caustic cleaners and things like that will kill it. Um, Spray will kill it, but it takes about 10 minutes, which is crazy when you think about it. And do you really want to be spraying all that, around your family, which I did back in the day. I did, it's like I would hose everything down. Lysol wipes will not kill it. Won't do it. Won't do it. So that's why in school settings, like a lot of times our kids, the teachers, it just spreads like wildfire through the schools, right? Because Lysol wipes will not kill it. And so a lot of cleaners that they use in schools will not kill it. And that's why it spreads so much in schools. Um, let's see. Lives on surfaces for weeks. And a lot of times, if you have a little person, like a small child, and they get it, mom or dad will sleep with them, and they themselves are going to be like, even if you take their soiled clothes off of them or whatever, if they've gotten sick, they're going to have the virus on their face, in their hair, and then mom's gonna snuggle them close, dad's gonna snuggle them close, you're gonna get your face right up in their hair, on their skin, and guess what? You got it. You're gonna end up getting it. So this might be like too much for some of you guys. You might be like, I don't care. It's like this is life. Sometimes it just comes with getting the stomach virus, and this might be too much, like to try to prevent it in your home. I totally respect that and I get it. These are for those people like me that are like emetophobic, that at all cost I do not want it in my house. So when my boys were younger and they would get it, I actually wouldn't even eat food with my hands. That's how bad I was and how fearful I was of it. So I would like scrub my hands, like wash my hands. But I would eat everything with a fork and a knife if I had cleaned up after them, or if I was cleaning the bathroom after them, whatever. I'm like, I'm not catching this at all costs, because I knew that it wasn't airborne. So I was just taking that out of the equation. So it was impossible for me to get it. But I will say, it caught up with us 2 years ago on Christmas because we were a little lax about our On Guard. And this was no regular stomach virus, it was the norovirus. It was god awful. Mm, god awful. Um, and I want to segue into how you can use the oils here, because I have two boys. A lot of you guys know this. I have two boys. Eben is 15, Jesse is 13. And they, when they use the oils internally, metabolize them differently. So let's rewind back to say, right when we first started using the oils, maybe 6.5 years ago, Jesse woke up with the stomach virus. And it was weird because we were diffusing On Guard and Breathe in the bedroom. He woke up and he didn't feel well, and it was a school day. So Randy and I were trying to decide, okay, who's going to stay home with him, da da da. And he was in the bathroom. He felt like he was going to get sick. It was like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And I ran and grabbed some of the oils that are antiviral. And I'm going to tell you what those are in just a minute. But I put him on his back. He was leaning over the toilet. And Randy went ahead and took Eben to school, and I stayed home with Jesse. And we decided that when he got back, I was going to go into work. In the 40 or so minutes that Randy was gone, the oils that I had put on Jesse had actually worked. And by that, I mean, we know how viruses work, right? Like they replicate. Once they're in your body, they replicate. So if you can get ahead of them in your body and how fast they replicate, guess what? You can stop them. You can stop it. So, and when I said my boys metabolize the oils differently, I didn't know this years ago. We figured it out through trial and error. Eben burns through oils like it takes a lot more to catch up to viruses with Eben. A lot more. His body metabolizes them quickly. Jesse, we can just use them once, and it's like a magic bullet. It's just like, boom, it drops the hammer. And the first time we figured this out was this particular instance. So Randy was gone about 40 minutes. And when he came home, Jesse was eating cereal at the table. And Randy looks at me and he's like, what in the devil? Why am I missing work? Why is he not at school? And I was like, and we had just started using the oil. So I'm like, I think that they just really work that well. And I know he's got the stomach virus because he had all the signs of it. He never actually got sick in the bathroom, but he came really close. And he was standing over the toilet heaving, and all that when I put him on his back. And then he felt so good that he decided he wanted to eat. And I just was like, holy cow, well, I guess I'll let him eat. So I went on to work and I told Randy, I was like, why don't you go ahead and make sure that you use the oils that I put on him topically? Be sure you keep putting them on him because I don't know what'll happen. And this was new. This was a new ground for us. We just didn't know what was going to happen. Well, let me tell you what happened. Randy didn't listen to me and he didn't use the oils because Jesse seemed fine. He ran around, he played, he was riding his bike, he was doing this, he was doing that. And Randy was just irritated because he missed a day of work. So then he put Jesse in the van and they went to pick Eben up from school. And in the car rider line, this was 7 hours after I topically put the oils on Jesse. 7 hours later, guess what happened in the van when they were in the car rider line? You got it. Jesse got sick. He started throwing up in the van 7 hours later because we didn't use the oils. So the virus was inhibited for those 7 hours just from that one application of the oils on Jesse's back. And then we didn't use the oils anymore. So guess what? The virus replicated and it caught back up to the oils. And I'm telling you this because what works for one person isn't going to work for another person. Eben, he's tried to get the stomach virus a couple times in the last few years. He got the norovirus 2 years ago at Christmas. It was terrible. It was terrible. And he got really sick one time. He got really sick in the middle of the night before we knew what was going on. And then I was able to get the oils on him once he started feeling better. I didn't want to give them to him internally right away because I didn't want them to come back up and that wouldn't have tasted great. But we put them on him. He only got sick that one time. He was fine, woke up, whatever. There's another instance where around Christmas a few years ago, Jesse, I used to call him the pest pocket because he would catch everything coming and going. Jesse woke up at probably like is in the morning. But here's the thing: we diffuse On Guard and breathe every night. On Guard will also, if you inhale it, will help your body fight it off. Stomach virus, though, it replicates pretty quickly. Just diffusing it at night is not going to protect you completely. And at the time, it was pre-COVID, so we weren't taking the On Guard internally every day. So he woke up that morning and he's like, I'm going to get sick. I feel like I'm going to get sick. And this was probably 6 o'clock in the morning. I put the oils on him. He ended up getting sick a little bit one time. And then I made a veggie cap with some antiviral oils and I gave it to him. I put some more oils on him, put him back in bed. He slept for 3 or 4 hours. And this was New Year's Day. When he woke up, it was like it never happened. Never happened. And we had the big, like we have Nana's pasta. It's like a tradition in our family, this big, heavy pasta meal with red sauce and meatballs. Guess what? Jesse ate it like nothing. It's like it never happened. So I want to share with you my thoughts on what you can do because I started to get the norovirus 2 years too. As careful as I am, that uneasy feeling, that kind of, ugh. God, oh, what's going to happen later? Ooh. And it's like a train that you feel like you can't stop, right? Yeah, it's the worst feeling because most people will tell you, oh, well, it's a virus. You have to let it run its course. No, you don't. No, you don't. And that's the purpose of this because I want you to be able to use these oils the way we use them in our home to combat these things, to be empowered and to know how to use them. But here's the thing, there's not one answer. There's tons of antiviral oils, okay? But a good place to start is with clove. So when I came down with it a couple of years ago, I actually took the clove oil and I put it in some Coke soda and I just sipped on it. And I sipped on it all night. And then I got ahead of it and I was fine. It was great. It was fine. I felt, and I never got sick. I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, it was terrible. It just staved it off and it went away. But I felt bad enough the night before that I knew I had it, if that makes sense. So how are you going to, how would you use this oil? So you can use it in Coke like I did, just sip on it, or you can use a veggie cap. And what you can do is veggie caps are these little fillable capsules. You can see here, you can just pull it apart. And I would just fill this sucker up with clove oil. I would fill it up. If you can do it even prophylactically, like, preventatively, if someone in your family has it, or if you feel like you're coming down with it, you can use the clove, put it in there, take it internally. That way, you should all be using the On Guard and Breathe every single night. Diffusing it in your bedroom, that's going to help stave it off too. There's a lot of antiviral oils. Arbor Vitae topically is a huge antiviral. If you don't have the clove, the On Guard has clove in it, so you can take the On Guard internally. Maybe pair that with the Digestin to help with the nausea and all of that stuff that goes with it. But something that we used to do back in the day when I told you that I put oils on Jesse's back, I used to call them the 911 oils. I think I'm going to start doing that again. So the 911 oils are the huge antivirals that you can use topically and some of them internally. So we talked about Arbor Vitae a little bit. It is the tree of life. And this one is a topical oil. It's not an internal oil. And if you ever have questions about how would you know, the ones that you can take internally have a supplement label on the side. This one just says ingredients. So you know that Arbor Vitae is not in an internal oil. Okay. So what do you do? What do you do if somebody wakes up with a stomach virus, or they're like, oh, I don't feel great, or it's going around school or whatever? You can preventatively take the clove, the way I said, sip it in Coke or ginger ale, put it in a veggie cap, take it that way to get ahead of it. How often? It depends on the person. So with Eben, it's something that we would have to do more frequently. With Eben, with Jesse, we could literally do it one time. It just depends on the person. But the cool thing about the oils is that you can take them. Your body takes what it needs to get back to balance, or to get to solve what you're trying to do, and to fix whatever you're trying to do. So it's not like taking 3 or 4 veggie caps of clove is going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt. Um, do now with COVID, going. Oops, it went out for just a second. Is we take the On Guard Plus, and we take this every day. It's the little soft gel, and you can take 1 or 2 of these a day. If you know that you're facing something like that, you can take 2 in the morning, 2 at night, or if someone in your house has it, you can go ahead and take them to prevent getting sick. But the 911 oils topically, I would do On Guard. I would do Arbor Vitae, oregano, tea tree. And if you have this amazing, precious, expensive oil right here, which is Melissa, I would throw it into topically. Okay. It is an expensive oil, but you know what? When you don't want to get sick, it is probably the strongest antiviral we have. So why not take it instead of clove? Well, the clove cost about, oh my goodness, maybe a tenth. No. Effective. But the bottom line is there's tons of oils that are antiviral that you can take internally to stave this mess off, and that you can do. If you have questions about how to use them, please ask. Comment here on the on this thread, and I'm happy to help you. But the big thing is clove internally. Internal use of the oils is always going to squash it faster than just topical use. That's why some of you with small children, it's a little more difficult, because a 2 or 3-year-old, you can't give them a veggie cap with clove, but you can diffuse On Guard. You can put it on their feet. You can put it on their little belly. You can give your little people the beadlets, which is the On Guard beadlets. They're tiny. Let me show you. They're itty bitty. They're tiny. So you can sneak them in on them, and they have clove in there too. Let me see if there's anything I missed, because I wanted to share so many things with you guys. No, I think that's it. I think that's it. I want you guys to know that you have power over some of these things, that you don't have to be at their mercy. And if you know how to use the oils, you can squash them because they do work like a magic bullet sometimes. Now, it's not like conventional over the counter medicine where it's like, oh, okay, just take this veggie cap with clove one time and it's going to kill the virus. It does that with Jesse because it just works that well with him and he metabolizes them more slowly. Eben, we might use the clove 3 or 4 times and then topical use, and then he might still feel a little puny, maybe like, not 100%, but certainly not terrible. But it depends on the person. It depends on how they metabolize the oils. But I want you guys to know that you can have power over some of these things, and this is something that, holy cow, I used to lose sleep over, and I know that seems crazy to say, we all have our things, right? But, the peace of mind that having the oils gives me, this is what got me to a class. This is what got me to a class. This is how much I really hate the vomiting and all of the just, ugh, I hate that stuff, and it's what got me to a class years ago and actually changed the course of my life because now look what I do for a living. But, I hope this has helped you guys. I hope that you see now, how the virus works and how you can stop it. And by all means, what really is the nugget that you should take away from this is how contagious someone is for several days afterwards. So if you can limit them to using a separate bathroom in your house, um, that will contain a lot of it too. And the On Guard cleaning hands, like soap and water, you almost nothing that you can use really. Soap is not going to kill this virus. It's just the water's going to wash it down the drain. But using the On Guard sanitizing mist, the On Guard will kill it on your hands. That's another thing that you can do. But if you have questions, fire away. I'll help you. I mean, we've done this for years and years and years. We've done this for a long time. So I know if you're new to it, you're kind of like, what? Oils are antiviral? Yes, they are. And I really don't want to see you guys suffering, especially going into the holiday season, because almost every year that we've gotten this virus, it's been on or around Christmas because you're in crowds, you don't know how it's passed. And now you do. And I hope this was helpful to you. Feel free to share it with people that you know. Help as many people as you can. And if you have questions, feel free to ask me. That's what I'm here for. Good night, guys.